Innovating Education Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.
The people's revolutions in the Arab world changed the political face of some of these countries. What was dubbed the Arab Spring swept away leaders who had ruled for decades, now discredited. But has the Arab Spring brought a revolution in education as well? This week we have examples from Libya and Tunisia, and we hear from an expert on the subject. It has been a year since the start of the successful revolution in Libya, and the country is preparing for a new era. But how will history be taught in the post-Gaddafi age? Students at this school in Tripoli once only learned the former leader's version of events. Now the teachers have more say in what they teach. They are freer to express their opinions. But the students believe many things still need to change.
Over the last 10 months, young Libyans have transformed this country, learning to peacefully demonstrate, but also learning to use heavy artillery. These same young people were educated by Gaddafi's own brand of history, and as they seek to build a new future on the ashes of the old, learning world comes to Tripoli.
Every tyrant has his end.
Gaddafi had the power to do so much for his country, but he didn't want to. In terms of the curriculum, most of it's the same. I've received themes for the curriculum, but the history books haven't arrived yet. There should be a study analysing and documenting the facts, the history of the revolution, not just the end of Gaddafi.
At the moment, in terms of the end of Gaddafi, there are no lessons where we teach about his final moments specifically.
But one thing has already changed. Teachers and school administrators feel now free to talk and to teach in accordance with their opinions.
In my professional life, I regret, as a humanities teacher, having had to teach Gaddafi's propaganda and fabricate my personal opinions which went against our reality. I regret it completely.
I used to teach the Green Book system. I used to teach it despite the fact it was all lies, despite the fact it contradicts religion itself. When kids ask me a question, I think to myself, how do I answer? Sometimes I'd have to reply with a blatant lie.
Even our teachers saw mistakes as a result of this system, but they weren't allowed to change anything. In the higher administration, we'd see mistakes from the previous Gaddafi education ministers. We'd comment on it socially amongst our friends, but we couldn't change it either. But now we can. My voice can finally be heard. Speak out and believe in the future. That's what Libyan students want now.
My mum told me that if the education system in Libya doesn't improve, she wouldn't let me stay here. My wish is that I can receive my degree in Libya and one day become a doctor.
Change in education is not yet a priority for the political leaders in emerging democracies. We hear from Mohammed Faour, a senior associate at Carnegie Middle East. We join him now to hear more about the impact of the Arab Spring on education and the reforms these countries are considering.
Mr. Faour, thank you for joining us. What's the impact of the revolution or the Arab Spring on education?
So far, the new regimes did not show any indications that the change in educational matters is a priority. So far, these systems are still preoccupied with political changes, legal and economic ones. But you need to change educational systems if you want to create stable and prosperous societies.
Do you think the educational landscape will differ dramatically in the Arab Spring countries like Tunisia, Libya and Egypt? Are we going to see new education models?
I hope so, and I expect that. We need young citizens who can have a political participation in the democratic system, which is in the process of evolution. We need responsible citizens who understand their rights and duties and understand how to defend their rights and how to be committed to their duties. We need creative people, capable of critical thinking, free and independent thinkers, who are able to solve problems and also able to be global citizens, not just local ones.
What reforms need to be made?
There are three important things that should be taken care of. First, governance. Second, development of the teacher and his qualifications. Third is accountability and also citizenship and civic education. Students need to be educated to be responsible citizens, and this includes the ability to understand their rights and duties as citizens and exercise their citizenship. And this starts at school, like participation in student council elections, to school boards, etc.
أستاذ فاور شكرا لك.
شكرا لكم.
As we've just heard, civic studies are important for young people in Arab countries. That is what this project in Tunisia is promoting. In this report, we follow students organizing democratic elections amongst themselves. It is one way to prepare Tunisian young people to be active members of society and to share their responsibility in decision-making.
In October 2011, Tunisia went through a historical moment, the first free elections in the country after a revolution that deeply moved the Arab world. In Hassan ibn al-Forat school, students were voting at the same period. They elected their delegates, and Maha Maxi was named president of the directorate. This project, named Elect Junior, is unique in Tunisia.
I was a candidate because I want the voices of my fellow students to be heard. You know, before students were just students. It wasn't possible to give your opinion. Now there's freedom of speech, because even if we're just students, we have things to say. Why shouldn't our voices count?
This project would not have seen the light of day without the help of the Junior Chamber International. It's an association of young citizens who initiated the Elect Junior project.
Elect Junior is an election in the school, an election that led to the formation of a committee of 5 people, a president and 4 vice presidents, each one of them in charge of a mission.
Another major stakeholder in this project is UNICEF. The post-revolution period revealed many issues regarding education.
Civics and education and citizenship are areas in which I think that our office and the Ministry of Education will invest in order to help the country in the democratic transition.
Today, the elected representatives of the directorate of Hassan ibn al-Forat School are attending a training session given by a member of the JCI. In the presence of the school director and their teachers, they're learning, for instance, how to manage their mandate.
We've trained them for a very, very tricky job. Very difficult, even for adults, how to conduct an electoral campaign. The training has been written by specialists. That's what delighted me. I was simply delighted. I felt the school had some sense.
Despite being only 13, Maha, the president, is fully aware of the importance of her position.
I feel that I have my share of responsibility in the decisions. I'm responsible for my fellow students, so I have to know what to say or what not to say. I really feel a big responsibility on my shoulders, and I'm ready to take it on.
The elected children only have a year to prove themselves. This first experience will determine whether Elect Junior will be set up in other schools in Tunisia.
Well, that's it for now. Let us know what change you would like to see in education. Also, those of you in the Arab Spring countries, share your thoughts with us on our social media pages. Before we go, one of our fans in Tunisia writes to say that graduates are having a lot of difficulty finding a job. Well, see you again next week. Goodbye.
Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.